Welcome into Ride the Line, the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Curran, certified G, bona fide stud, unlike Jayson Tatum and Joe Mazzulla. And you can't teach that. Bada boom. And Kristaps Porzingis. And Jalen Brown. Peyton Pritchard's a dog. And you can't teach that. Bada boom. Man, the people in the room. G Money Grant Mitchell, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Tanner. I'm doing great because I was looking forward to it all last night. I didn't text you. I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to rub it in your face. But I went to sleep excited to get to talk to you this morning because I'm ready for an all-time generational rant about the Celtics loss last night.
All right, before we get into that rant, let's just get the reads out of the way here, because once we get into a rhythm, once I start talking C's, I'm not going to be able to stop. So, guys, check out WSN.com, the ultimate spot for your sports betting content, information, betting previews, betting promos. Check it out. Grant, why should they check out WSN.com?
Well, Tanner, going into last night, 14 of the last 15 teams that were coming off of a Game 7 compared to a team coming off of a sweep had lost. I said, do not count out the Denver Nuggets. Wrote a whole preview on it. I said the Denver Nuggets are a great bet in Game 1. Aaron Gordon comes through at the clutch. They end up winning that. And you've got myself, Tanner, a whole team of experts. We're giving you picks like those, okay? Ones that are flying under the radar, picks that can hopefully help make you some cash on the sports books. We've also got promo codes, so bonus bets, profit boosts, all that great stuff. You'll find it all at WSN.com.
Check out WSN.com, guys. Make sure you smash the subscribe button for Ride the Line podcast going to the moon. We've had a few good shows lately. A lot of guys tuning in and commenting. Keep doing that. We'll get back to all of you guys. Give us your NBA playoff picks down there. Are the Celtics going to beat the Knicks? I think they are. But here's the issue, Grant. First thing first. How do you miss 45 three-pointers? Like, how is that even possible? They said, we don't want to shoot inside the big arc. We want to, that's the restricted area. We ain't going in. There was a stretch there when they had the 20-point lead. It said, hey, we got a 20-point lead. Let's just continue to try to embarrass these guys and just shoot threes. If they got the ball inside, shot a couple twos, like this isn't even a game. How about this? They lost by 3. So if they missed 43 three-pointers instead of 45 three-pointers, they actually would have won the game last night. And you have Jayson Tatum trying to be Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Steph Curry, Michael Jordan, and like squishing them all together in one with step back threes all over the place, like drive to the hoop. You have no offensive setup. You have no defensively. Like, I guess they were okay at times last night. Like they did hold the Knicks to 108 points and it went to overtime. But there's no excuse for losing that basketball game last night. And I do think the Celtics are going to be okay. There's no doubt about it. They're the better team. They won by, they were leading by 20 points last night before the breakdown happened. But Jayson Tatum, you should be ashamed of yourself. Jalen Brown, you should be ashamed of yourself. Al Horford, I thought was okay at times. Peyton Pritchard, I liked. Sam Hauser, you foul from the three-point line, then you sprain your ankle, you freaking loser. Joe Mazzulla, what the fuck were you doing last night, Joe? What, like, not calling the timeout to set up your offense with the chance to have a game winning or game time shot, whatever it was at that point. What are you doing, Joe? Kristaps Porzingis, what injury, what virus do you have? Because we haven't been able to figure it out. So in my mind, that means it doesn't exist. You got your ass kicked in the first half, and then you had a virus in the second half. You missed shot after shot after shot in the first half, and that did impact them. That impacted them entirely. But what are you doing? Like, this is just a game. You can't give these games away because it's against the Knicks, and you can beat the Knicks. And I think they know deep down they can beat the Knicks. If I'm taking a step back and I'm saying, was it Jalen Brunson, like Mr. Clutch Jalen Brunson? He was great, but the Celtics blew a 20-point lead. That's the story of the game, period. And they missed 45 threes. So if you go to moving forward, like, they know they can beat the Knicks. If you do this against the Cavs or maybe in the Pacers or the Thunder, if the Thunder beat the Nuggets and ultimately win the West, you can't get away with doing this against better quality teams. That's my rant, and then I will continue to pile on as you say stuff. But that was just all my thoughts jumbled together in one.
So I really don't even know where I want to start here. There's so many things to say about this. I guess the first point I'll go to is, you want to know why Jayson Tatum will never be the face of the NBA. It's this game right here. Not as an individual game, but this is just a representation of who he is and who this team is at times. You've been on record saying that you think the Celtics are building towards the modern dynasty. This is the
They
thing.
are.
I have never seen a team throw away as many leads as the Celtics do. Think back to that game against the Cavs earlier in the year where they go up 20, throw it away, go up 20 again, and then still lose the game. I don't know if it's just mental disengagement or if this team has a problem with confrontation in the basketball sense. That run to the championship last year, they were front running the whole way. And this is the thing. Front running gets a bad rep. Front running is great. It means you're dominating the other team. It means you've got nothing to worry about. The Celtics are better than anybody at establishing themselves, asserting themselves early, and getting to that huge lead. In the close games, and then when the teams battle back against them, they totally capitulate. And Jayson Tatum is the encapsulation of that. He took 23 shots last night, 15 from 3, 8 from 2. Look at the Knicks minutes log, because the Knicks have a big team, right? They can put Karl-Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson out there, clog the lane. That's why Tatum was on the three-point line? No. Cat played 31 minutes. Mitchell Robinson played 21. Those 21, by the way, basically the same as Miles McBride. The players who played heavy minutes, Mikal Bridges 51, OG 46, Josh Hart 45, Jalen Brunson 44. Tatum was hunting the switch whenever Mitchell Robinson was on the court, and then Jalen Brunson whenever he could. He can easily take both of those guys to the lane. Jayson Tatum might be the best finisher around the rim as far as wings go in the whole league. But we just never see it because he never wants to take advantage of the skill set he has and the size that he has. He would rather, like you said, take these contested fall away threes. This is something I always complained about with Tatum early in his career. He acts as if this is like Olympic diving, where you have the execution of or whatever you do, and then you get style points on top of that, degree of difficulty points. He acts like a turnaround fadeaway three is worth 6 points instead of 3. And he continues to take these awful shots in these moments where you just don't need it. So that out the way, I want to give credit to Jalen Brunson. Clutch player of the year, came through again, 11 points in that fourth quarter. He was tremendous. But the Celtics, again, this is just what makes them so frustrating because we all know that they're good, but they can't be great until they get rid of these mental lapses.
They just lost the dog in them. I think winning the championship was like a good thing, obviously, because you win a championship, but they don't have, like, last year they wanted to kill you. Like when they got you down, they wanted to like continue to put you down. This year, I don't see that as much with them. Jayson Tatum, the looks he was getting from 3-point last night weren't even good. Like, that's the problem. They weren't good shots. Al Horford had good looks from 3. Derek White had some good looks from 3. Derek White's pull-ups were a little too much at times last night. But Peyton Pritchard had some good looks. Like, there were guys who were getting open looks from 3. It was not Jayson Tatum all night. He was not getting good looks, and he continued to shoot those shots. Down the stretch when you have the chance to go ahead with 5 seconds to go, the shot selection you get coming out of the timeout is a Jayson Tatum step back contested 3. Like, why? Like, I get it. You want to try to make a 3 maybe to get the Knicks in a position where they need to make a 3, but it's not that look. It's not a Jayson Tatum step back contested 3. So just a really bad performance from him, and Jaylen Brown couldn't really pick up the slack. And then you lose Kristaps Porzingis at the half, which made a difference. Like, I think it set the physical tone inside a little bit more, even though he wasn't doing a lot from a scoring perspective down low. He missed a lot of wide open looks or layup chances. So just a really bad game for Boston. And you got to blame Joe Mazzulla. It's not Jayson Tatum. You got to blame Joe Mazzulla for not taking timeouts, not bringing his guys together, not telling them we don't need 3s right now. We're up 20. Put the freaking ball in the hoop.
Yeah, so this is the thing with the phrase. We've heard this before. It's been going on for a long time. Live and die by the 3. Whenever people say the Celtics live and die by the 3, even though they take more 3s than any team in NBA history, I don't like using that because it's like they're not living and dying by the 3. That's how they play. If a team is just, say, average in 3-point volume, and then in a certain series they identify the team they're going against has a weakness defending the 3, then that becomes live and die by the 3. The Celtics, this is what they do. That's how they generate their most efficient offense. Last night, the shot quality, to your point on Tatum, a lot of Tatum shots, a lot of Brown's shots, it's not the same sort of looks that they customarily take. Did Derek White miss a lot of open 3s? Sure. Did Drew Holiday? Sure. But I think the degree of difficulty on a lot of those, and credit to the New York Knicks as well, because they had an awful 3-point defense during the regular season. They've completely turned that around in the postseason. I would still expect Boston to shoot better than 25% from three, even if they are bad looks, quote unquote. But you can't lose this game. Game one of a series at home when you have a rest advantage and you're up 20 points, it's inexcusable. And if you're the Knicks, all of a sudden, they were 0-10 against the best teams in the league. They go on the road and they're now 1-0 against the best teams in the league in the playoffs. If you give them any sort of belief with the way that Jalen Brunson can close these games, Boston's got trouble.
Yes and no. You need to win game two. If you lose game two, I think you give them belief, obviously. And don't get me wrong, the Celtics go down 0-2. They're more than capable of running the table, winning 4 games in a row and knocking off the Knicks. There's no doubt about it. But right now, currently, I still don't think, if I'm the Boston Celtics, I'm kicking myself. Like I couldn't sleep last night. I genuinely, so I can't imagine how they feel. But you gave away a game, so be it. You're going to give away games. Now, moving into game two, must win. Obviously, the pressure is on Boston to win that game. New York doesn't have as much pressure. But when you look at the Knicks, they need to win that game too. Because if they go 1-1 back to New York, chances are Boston gets back their momentum back. They're going to sweep in New York because they are the better team. We saw that last night. And the biggest thing for me is when you're looking at the Celtics in this position, you gave up a 20-point lead. You know, you had the 20-point lead. You know, you are better than them. You know, you missed 45 freaking 3-pointers. And the New York Knicks, the way they celebrated last night, they were acting like they won the NBA championship, like at the end of the game. We're on a different playing field. They were stunned to win. We gave the game away. Now we just go play Boston basketball. They're going to be fine. It's no doubt about it. So I think New York was a little too, the way they reacted to the win. Again, great win. But you got, who was at the end of the game? Was it Bridges? Bridges is throwing the freaking ball up the court like he won the NBA championship.
So, okay, he was doing that to kill the clock.
I know. But with that being said, they were celebrating very hard like they won the NBA championship last night. I don't think that's the right mindset there because you got a Boston team that's just much better than you. Like, it's like, oh, we won a game. Great. Like, we didn't expect to win this game. Now the Celtics show them what they got in game two.
So if Porzingis and Sam Hauser are out, then, I mean, you're going to have a 7-man rotation of Tatum, Brown, Holiday, White, Horford, Cornette, and Pritchard. That's still most of the top guys, and that's obviously not a bad rotation, but does change things if you have 7 guys instead of 9.
Yeah, it does. And honestly, Porzingis took away his ability inside. I mean, he was 0 for 4. It was like 4 layups, and he didn't score a point last night, but he makes a big difference for them inside. Again, they got to shoot better looks from, they got to get better looks from 3. Like Tatum's got to get to the hoop. And I will say the one thing about the Celtics, the thing they are really good at, they're a very good team when it comes to responding. I know they had the bad game, but chances are, I believe they're going to respond. I thought the Lakers were going to respond too. Obviously that didn't happen, but I think with the Celtics, we've seen it time and time again. They lose games, they find a way to come back and win the next one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let me see what these game 2 odds are. Do you remember how much they were favored by in game 1?
It was 9 points. Now it's 10 points, I think.
Yeah. Okay. -10. Celtics -10. And there's a lot of sharp money on the Celtics at -10 going into the next game.
Makes sense. Again, we don't have this Mr. Clutch commentary last night. If the Celtics like literally don't shoot 3-pointers like they're playing in the fucking schoolyard. I know I'm getting a little intense right now, but I'm angry. Okay, Grant, I'm angry.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah, I mean, Brunson was clutch as always, clutch player of the year. He was tremendous. OG Anunoby was tremendous. Mikal Bridges got lucky. I don't know if you know that shot. I think it was in overtime. It was either in the 4th quarter or overtime. The 3 from the corner. He actually banked it in from the corner. So completely an accident. But yeah, the Knicks can be as clutch as they want. And none of that happens if the Knicks or the Celtics don't throw away a 20-point lead. I guess what you can say is the Knicks closed that lead down very quickly. So credit to them, I guess, but you're never supposed to lose games. You have a 20-point lead.
No, never. Late in the third quarter. I mean, the Knicks started that third quarter horribly. It was a very rough start there. Like Cat had one of the worst possessions I've ever seen. Like he was still backing down whoever. Yeah. And the shot clock's at like 1 second. He's still trying to back him down. Like that was just, when I saw that, I'm like, all right, this is over. Obviously it wasn't. But if you're the Celtics too, and you're going to lose one game, I would rather lose like this personally. I think if you're going to lose a game. I'd rather have it be game 1 than game 2 because I don't want them building momentum in game 2 heading back home. I would rather lose the game that was like, oh my God, we lost this game. It wasn't like the Knicks flat out beat us with their talent. Like we did something to give them the game because it's a wake up call too. And that's another big thing for Boston moving forward. This wasn't a game where New York beat you with their talent. They closed the gap because you left the opportunity open. And of course, they're very good. I mean, it's professional basketball. Anyone can win down the stretch in a tight game, but you allowed them to be in the tight game. So I think that's another thing that Boston and Joe Mazzulla, whatever animalistic video he is showing them today, like that's something they can build on.
Hopefully it's some sort of documentary about mosquitoes and malaria so they can figure out what's going on with Kristaps.
He needs to take a timeout too, Joe Mazzulla. Kristaps needs to stop getting sick, number one, because I don't know if the doctors can't figure out what you have, I don't know if you have anything.
But also he was, so like 2 months ago, I want to say is when he went out. He was out for 4-6 weeks, however long it was. It was a long time. He's been back for like a month. So now he's sick again. And we just find that out halfway through game 1. It's not how diseases work. You know what I mean? Like if you have it and it's there for 3 months, it doesn't disappear in the middle month.
No. So I don't know what the deal is. You got to fight through it. I mean, Michael Jordan played in the flu game. Like you got to be better. Got to push through, Kristaps. I don't need you to make shots. I need you to get some rebounds for me. That would help. I don't
block some shots.
Yeah, we got scores. Go play defense. Go get some rebounds. Go handle the paint a little bit. That's all I need from him. But anyways, playoff series odds right now, -370 in favor of the Celtics. It was like -270 last night. I think it was bet up to 370 because I checked it right after the game. Makes sense. Celtics are the better team. Grant, what's the prediction right now? Celtics in.
So I was on with our friends at Visa, and I was on Cashing Out, and we were talking about this series, and I said the only reason I would say not to bet the Celtics, the series spread was like -2.5 games. I forget what the odds were. I said the only reason this extends past 5 games is because the entire world is betting 5 games or less. I didn't see last night coming. The fact they already won once, do I believe they can win one more time? Sure. Why not? I still don't love it. Like, I'll be completely honest. I could still see the Celtics winning the next 4 games. But if you're telling me we've got 4 games ahead, can the Knicks win one of them? Sure. So if you're giving me that series spread of +2.5 games, then I would take the Knicks side of that.
That's what's really hard too. You know, like Celtics obviously blew a game. We'll talk about the Nuggets in a minute. Like these New York's capable of beating Boston one more game. Like I think Celtics in 6 is probably the most realistic outcome right now. I think with the Nuggets series, like OKC is good enough to run the table there too, but it's more likely Denver probably wins the game, but it's risky because these top teams can turn it on at any time. So I'm going to say Celtics in 6. I'm probably going to say Thunder in 7 though. And we'll talk about that right now, Grant. So besides Nikola Jokic coaching the Denver Nuggets full on now and playing, he's a player's coach. Well, what did you see from this game last night? It was another one that I felt the favorite should have won and then coughed up down the stretch.
Yeah, so I look at this differently. Again, I don't want to forget about this. Credit to Brunson for closing the deal, but I do look at it as the Celtics threw away that game. I don't look at it as the Thunder threw it away. I think it was you predictably saw their inexperience come back to bite them. And you knew it was going to happen at some point because the Nuggets, as far as championship level teams go, the Nuggets are one of the most experienced teams out there because they did just win it a couple of years ago. The Warriors are up there. The Lakers kind of were up there, but that's mostly just because they're best players. The Celtics are certainly up there. And then the Nuggets probably maybe third as far as championship level experience goes. And the Thunder would be the youngest team in NBA history to win the NBA Finals. They were the second youngest 1 seed. The youngest 1 seed was the Thunder last year. So, like, that was a clear mismatch. And that was something that I was considering going into this series. I didn't know what particular game it would manifest itself in, whether it would be a Shea scores 12 points in a closeout, or it was a missed shot. Someone forgot to call a timeout. It could have been a multitude of things, but I did consider that going into this game. And when you look at the way that the Nuggets closed this game, and also when you look at the way the Thunder executed the final 30 seconds ago, that was my biggest takeaway, is the Nuggets, even with respect to David Adelman, seemingly without a coach, they were the more disciplined, more prepared team. Obviously they go on that run at the end of the fourth quarter I think they were down 11 with like 3 minutes left. And then they even get it to the point where it's a 2-1 score game. And then when the Thunder start playing the foul game, this is the thing. The Thunder fouling, they're up 3, they're going to foul so that the Nuggets don't have a chance to tie the game. Okay, I understand that. That's simple math. But they were fouling them instantly. It started, I think, at 13 seconds. And as soon as that ball got in, they would foul them. Let them run to half court, take 3-4 seconds off the clock, then foul them. You foul them at 13, well, now it's 12 seconds, and then the Thunder are going to foul you, and now it's 11 seconds. All of this could have happened where you got it down to like 5 or 6 seconds instead of 11. Then where I think the Thunder really messed up is the Nuggets had taken Jokic out of the play. The Thunder were inbounding. Jokic had 5 fouls. The Thunder took him off the court so that he wouldn't foul out. The Thunder got a look to Shea, who dunked it. The Nuggets were expecting to foul and then on the free throws be able to sub Jokic back in. Because Shea dunked it and the Nuggets had no timeouts, that meant that they couldn't get Jokic back onto the floor. The Thunder are up 3. This is with 11 seconds left. Jokic is not on the floor. What did the Thunder do? They instantly fouled as soon as the ball came in. I would have, at the very least, let them get across half court and then foul. If not, just not foul at all. Again, Jokic is not on the floor. Peyton Watson had replaced him. Peyton Watson's not really an offensive threat. So stay tight to Jamal Murray. Stay tight to Aaron Gordon. And then you look at the other guys on the court. You don't have to show much respect to Peyton Watson. You don't have to show much respect to Russell Westbrook from 3. And then we know what happened. The Nuggets make the free throws. Holmgren misses his. Nuggets get the rebound. Aaron Gordon, game winner. I know that was kind of complicated. If you watch the game, hopefully it's a little easier to follow. But it was just a mismatch in experience. And I think that is kind of the story coming out of game 1.
And if I'm looking at future odds right now to win the NBA championship, you have the Thunder at plus 170 of the Celtics at 210. Before last night's game, the Thunder were plus 130, which I think we're starting to get a little too much bullish on the Thunder at that. I have a lot more confidence the Celtics are going to beat the Knicks than I do the Thunder are going to beat the Nuggets in a 7-game series. I still think it's going to be hard for the Nuggets to win 3 more games like this. But overall, this is a series that could go really in any direction. A couple things to note last night. You look at the rebounding battle. Nuggets 63, Thunder 43. Offensive rebounds 21 in favor of Denver to 13 in favor of OKC, or 13 with OKC. And then another thing too, total turnovers. Nuggets turned the ball over 18 times. They gave up 23 points off turnovers. If you fix that a little bit, this is a much tighter game before we get down the stretch too.
Yeah, so I'm really glad you pointed that out, because that's part of the nuance of playoff basketball, is finding where are the margins and how do we exploit them. So if we go back to the first round when the Nuggets played the Clippers were one of the best rebounding teams in the entire NBA. The Nuggets ate them up on the boards. They ate them up on the offensive boards especially. So they knew that they could do that against a Thunder team. The Thunder, obviously, with Chet and Hartenstein, are taller than they have been in years past. Still not a great rebounding team. That's what you would say their weakness was. For the Thunder, they led the league in turnovers forced and points off of turnovers. So I thought this was just great game plan execution from both teams. The Thunder did what they needed to do. They took the ball away. The Nuggets did what they needed to do, give themselves second chance opportunities. And, I don't think that that's a positive or a negative for either team. I think you just say both teams executed what they wanted to do.
Yeah, definitely. It was a really good game down the stretch. One that I believe the Thunder should have won. I don't think it was as much as Thunder coughed it up as like the Celtics coughed it up. But definitely the inexperience came back to bite them. Looking at the series, Grant, moving forward, you have minus 320 for the Thunder. And I'm currently looking for the other side. There we go. Denver versus OKC. You have plus 260 for Denver. What do you like in there, Grant?
So this is the thing. I really, I'll let me back up. So you remember how before the last round I said take the Pistons at plus 2.5 games against the Knicks? These plus 2.5 game lines have been ridiculous. I took the Pacers at plus 2.5 games against the Cavs for plus money. That's looking pretty good. We'll see how it goes. I took the Nuggets at plus 2.5 games for plus 125, which was crazy to me. Plus 125 to get this thing to 6 games. So for me personally and selfishly, I'm not gonna double dip on this and say that, yeah, I like this team to win the series for less value than I could have before the series started, and considering I'm already on track to win my bet. That's just asking to lose value. But for everybody else out there, sorry, just knocked my camera. Everybody else watching this, if you said gun to my head, where am I going to go with this? I would go with the Nuggets.
To win the series. Wow. That's big.
I've been so out on the Thunder in the playoffs. I've been saying it for a long time. Think they're an amazing team. Think they'll get there one day. I just don't think that the time is right. So Shea goes 12 of 26, which 33 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. Really good game. 12 of 26 is still less efficient than he normally is. Lou Dort was actually really good. Alex Caruso might have been the best player in a Thunder uniform in this game. Hartenstein had 5 fouls, couldn't stay on the floor. Holmgren had 5 fouls, only 12 points. Jalen Williams, 16 points, 5 of 20 from the field. It's a case where you've got an MVP candidate, but if he's not completely dominating games, do I trust everyone else there to get them over the line? Going back to what I opened this all with their inexperience, I just don't think that I do. And the Nuggets, it's so annoying to watch them. If you're a Nuggets hater, it's got to be brutal to watch them because they just win so many games that they shouldn't. They did not play as well as the Clippers in the first 6 games of that series, but they get it to 7 games and they go home and dominate. They did not play as well as the Thunder in this game, but they find a way to win. It's just what they do. So, yeah, I'll take the best player in the world when he's giving you 42 and 22.
If the Nuggets do win this series, I think the Minnesota Timberwolves win the West for sure.
I would love that rematch because obviously that was the conference semis last year. The Nuggets were up 20 in game 7 in the second half and the Timberwolves won. So that's probably the most fun outcome we could get.
Yeah, that would be a good one. Okay, so before we talk about Ant-Man, Batman, Superman, Timberwolves in 5, let's talk about the game that already happened, the one series that got going before these 2 games last night, Cavs versus Pacers. Now, before we break down what's going to happen in tonight's game, Grant, I want to ask you a question here. When you look at the game 2s of the Celtics series, the Thunder series, the Cavs series, obviously all the dogs won in those games. Which series is most likely to have the dog go 2-0?
Well, it's not the Knicks Celtics, in my opinion, certainly. I think you can make an argument for Nuggets Thunder. I would go with Pacers Cavs. And a big part of that is, first of all, I don't know how many times I've been updating this because I've been saying for the past month, as you know, pay attention to the Pacers. And I keep giving you their record in 2025. They are now 39 and 15 in 2025. This is an elite team. And it's a small market. It's young players. It's easy to call Tyrese Halliburton corny. Pascal Siakam's the second best player. I get it. They don't have the typical makeup of a championship level team, but that's what they are. You saw what they did to the Cavs in game 1. They answered that run. You know how the Thunder didn't answer the Nuggets run. The Celtics didn't answer the Knicks run. The Pacers were up by like 10, 15. As soon as the Cavs brought it back so that it was a tie game, they go on a huge run again and they open it up. They left no doubt there. And now going into game 2, which will be, later today, we'll see what happens. But Darius Garland's got the sprained toe. Don't know if he's going to play. If he does, he's not going to be 100%. Evan Mobley has an ankle injury. He might not play. And DeAndre Hunter might not play because that hard fall after Mathurin blocked him at the rim. So if you're down 3 of your top 5 guys, yeah, I love the Pacers.
Yeah, I do too. And this is the one game where when I look at the Pacers, out of the 3 that already happened with the underdogs, like the Nuggets were in the game the whole time, but the Thunder had the lead. I felt like the Thunder controlled a lot of that game. The Celtics controlled most of that game. This was the one game where the Pacers actually controlled it. The Cavaliers were not the team, putting the foot on the gas. It was the Pacers the entire night. The Cavs were like trying to play catch up. They were trying to get the crowd back into it, make the big shot, get the momentum. They just couldn't really do it all night, which is something for me. It's like this series is going to be a lot closer than people expect because these two teams play very similar styles. I think this is a bad matchup for Cleveland. It's a good matchup for Indiana. We've talked about it on the show where it's like Indiana can outshoot the Cleveland. Cleveland needs like a defensive-minded team to really enforce their will. But Indiana, like they can score with them. And if you can score with anybody, you have a chance to win. So I do like the Pacers moving forward. I think this could be the series of the three that we get the highest chance of an upset. I think the Nuggets, obviously, because you're getting Jokic. Celtics, no. But this is one where the Cavs are definitely on upset alert.
Yeah, and this was, I want to say I made this my favorite upset call when we did our last show or the show before that. I said to watch out for the Pacers. To give you an interesting stat here from game one, and this isn't necessarily the most indicative stat in the world as far as like predicting wins and losses, but did find it very interesting. So passes per 100 possessions in game one. Indiana had 330. Cleveland had 227. During the regular season, the team that averaged the fewest passes per 100 possessions was 274. So again, Cleveland was at 227. So there was just no shot creation going on. The fact they still shot 46% from the floor, I guess you take something from that, but that's probably why they only shot 24% from three. You know, you got to give the Pacers credit for staying attached to everybody. And also you got to look at the Cavs and say, well, why weren't they able to adjust to the Pacers pace? You know, why couldn't they adjust to the tempo? Indiana, they get that ball and they are flying on defense. They are connected to everybody. And I think the biggest representation of the Cavs struggling for that shot creation is Ty Jerome took 20 field goal attempts. Ty Jerome is having a great year. This is an NBA reject who just got a chance that many probably never thought he would. And he takes 20 field goals in a playoff game. Donovan Mitchell goes 13 of 30, 1 of 11 from three. Cavs got problems.
They do. And you look the regular season series, Pacers were 3-1. Two of those games were late in the season where the Cavs didn't necessarily need them. But still, it's a confidence boost for the Pacers. You know you can beat this team, and you already did it in game one. So game two, Grant, who you got?
Well, I got the Pacers on the spread. I'll tell you that for sure. You know, I'm not just from a value perspective. Sure. I'll take the Pacers at plus 320. Give me the Pacers to go up 2-0.
Pacers 2-0. That would be pretty substantial if that happens. Now, the biggest series of them all, the one that everybody wants to watch. Anthony Edwards has taken over the league. He has captivated the league in the past couple weeks, beating the Lakers. You know, we know the history of all the legends he can knock off. He's got another chance against Steph Curry. I think this Warriors team is like a wounded Warriors team coming into this game. I just don't think they're going to be able to run with the Timberwolves. I don't think they're going to be able to compete with them. This is a series that I could see it ending in like 5-6 games pretty easily. What about you?
Ant-Man, Batman, Superman, Timberwolves in 5.
If the Timberwolves win this series in 5, let's see the conference odds right now. Timberwolves plus 360, Denver plus 500. OKC down to minus 145. If they win this series in 5 games and the Oklahoma City Thunder are in like a dogfight in 7 with the Nuggets, even if they come out of that, that's going to be pretty close to a pick'em series in the NBA or in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, so Timberwolves minus 1.5 games is plus 116, minus 2.5 games is plus 235. Surprised you're actually not getting more value there. Don't know if that's a sign that the odds makers like the Timberwolves. Obviously, they have them favored, but I still was expecting more value there. Yeah, I mean, this line for game one opened as Timberwolves minus 5. It's now minus 7, so it has been bet up by the public. And I'm with you. I look at the Warriors as a wounded animal, but not the wounded animal that's dangerous and backed into a corner and ready to fight for its life. I'm looking at it like the one that's slowly bleeding out. And I don't mean any disrespect to Steph Curry or Jimmy Butler, but both those guys are banged up. Steph's thumb is clearly bothering him. I'm sorry. I don't know if you saw the video of him going through his pregame warmups before game 7 against the Rockets. He could barely dribble, and then he was losing handle, and then he took a 3 and he airballed it. It's just totally uncharacteristic Steph stuff. He had a good fourth quarter in that game, but only 3 points in the first half. Buddy Hield had 22. Like, when is that going to happen again? When are you going to win games like that? We talked about it so much that if Steph and Jimmy aren't handling the majority of the scoring, this team's just not going to win games. Houston did some really good things in that series. They played excellent defense, but they couldn't score. The Timberwolves were scoring at will against the Lakers. And maybe the Warriors don't have a single defensive liability as big as Luka Doncic, but they're tired. They're injured. They're old. They got 6 days fewer rest. And this Timberwolves team, they're all the things you don't want to see from an opponent. They're young, they're deep, they're hungry, and they're confident. Like they're looking at themselves like, we just beat LeBron and Luka in 5 games. And now we're at home with a week of rest against a team that was on the road for game 7, is on the road for game 1. Their best player is injured. Their second best player is injured. Yeah, the Timberwolves, I think, I've never seen them have as good of ball movement and decision making in the entire recent history of the franchise. It's never been as good as it was in that Lakers series. They can play better defense than the Warriors can. They're a much better rebounding team. The Warriors ran into problems when Houston had that double big lineup. I would expect to see Randall and Gobert on the court together, Naz Reid and Gobert on the court together. I just think there's so much more that gives you confidence in the Timberwolves than the Warriors.
2 things. They play really hard. That's the biggest reason that I have confidence in Minnesota moving forward in this tournament. They play extremely hard. If you play hard, obviously, there's a lot of teams that don't necessarily play hard, and you can beat teams with physicality and just coming at them every single series, every single play, every single opportunity you get. My biggest thing, what are we going to get from Julius Randle? Randle was key against the Lakers. He needs to be key once again. This Timberwolves team does not look the same if Julius Randle is not playing up to his capability. Are we going to get that Julius Randle? If we do, I don't think the series is close. If we don't, it probably is a little closer. I still think Ant-Man can take games over. But Julius Randle is the key for me. I think Rudy Gobert is going to be awesome again. I think Anthony Edwards is going to be good enough. He doesn't do stupid things with the basketball. He plays hard. He's downhill. He's doing a lot of great things there. But what are we going to get from Julius Randle? And if we get that version of him that we saw last series, this one's over in 5 games.
Another thing to keep an eye on, another underrated sort of aspect, just pay attention to Anthony Edwards' decision making. That was always his Achilles heel in past playoff runs. In that first round against the Lakers, he averaged about 6.5 assists per game, only 1.2 turnovers. That is so low as far as primary ball handlers go. That's like Tyrese Halliburton levels. Obviously, Ant isn't getting as many assists as Halliburton is, but that's remarkably efficient. And if the Warriors can't force the issue with him, they're going to have to try a bunch of different coverages. They're going to have to try to play him straight up. But who do you really want to do that? Are you going to put Jimmy Butler on him and have him chase him the whole game? Because then you're going to take away his defensive abilities. Is it going to be Moses Moody or Gary Payton? Those guys are too small. It's not going to be Steph. Is it going to be Pods? Maybe Pods is the guy, but I hate that defensive matchup. Just pay attention to that, because the Warriors are going to have to mix up what they throw at him. And with the way he's playing and his team is playing, I think he'll be able to work his way around it.
Do you believe Anthony Edwards is ready to win a championship?
I would say yes. I don't like rushing these things. Even though I bag on Tatum, it's not because I thought he should have won a championship at the time. It's like I don't like rushing young players, because we live in the moment so much that we forget LeBron was, want to say, 26 when he won his first title. Jordan was 28. These things take time. You can't microwave it. And is only 23. It's only his 5th year. So I'm not saying that I expect him to, and I will be disappointed if he doesn't. But just from the way that he leads the team, the way that the team responds to him, and the level of intensity that he plays with on both sides, I think he is ready to win a championship.
There you go. All right. So, Grant, that leads us into our final topic of the show, the NBA Finals odds here. Big questions right now, Grant. You got OKC plus 170. You got the Celtics plus 210, Cavs plus 500, T-Wolves 11-1, Nuggets 15-1, Warriors 24-1, Pacers Knicks 31, 28-1. So if you're a new listener to the show and you're logging on, you swipe to this part of the show and you don't have an NBA Finals bet and you need to make one right now, what would you recommend the listener do with their money here?
Okay, so I like the Timberwolves to win the West. They're currently at 11-1. I still think the Celtics are the best team in the East. Now, don't get me wrong. The Pacers at plus 3,000 compared to the Celtics at plus 210. If I am operating under the mindset that Garland, Mobley, and Hunter are injured, like if the Pacers go up 2-0, then you're going to see this go from plus 3,000 to plus 1,800. There's going to be a huge drop. So there is more value on that. I would say personally, I would double bet. I would go Boston Celtics at plus 210, Timberwolves at plus 1,100. If either one of them wins, you're making profit off of it. And Those are my picks for each conference. So if I get that right, then it has to be one of those two teams.
The exacta right now, if you were to do Celtics to beat the, let's see, Celtics to beat the Timberwolves, they're hard to find here.
Plus 1,000.
Plus 1,000. Okay.
And then the Timberwolves to beat the Celtics is plus 2,800.
Okay. So you can take both those too, if that interests you. Another thing you could do as well, and just do name the finalists right now. If you did an exacta there, plus 750. So,
and that would give you more value. Yeah.
Yeah. So just to,
what about you?
I mean, I like Boston. I like Minnesota. I think Denver's dangerous if they get through the series. But I do think it's going to be war to get through this series, where the Minnesota Timberwolves, per se, coming in, if they can take care of Golden State in 5-6 games, going to have a little more of an easy way out. So I do think Minnesota, if they get through the series, they have the confidence after beating LeBron, confidence after beating Steph. I think now I get to beat Jokic. I get to take down Jokic again, right? Like, that's another thing that Anthony Edwards can, hang his hat on, and then he goes to the finals. I do like the Timberwolves, but I think the Celtics are the best team if they figure it out. And chances are last night's wake-up call is good. Again, I said it when they blew the lead against the Cavs earlier in the season. Like, that's the last memory you have of Cleveland in your building. That's a good thing moving forward. So don't take it for granted. Got to come out, play great basketball. But I think plus 210 is a pretty good deal for Boston. They were plus 250 last night after losing. It's been bet down to plus 210. So last night was probably the time to get it. The longest it's been this season, plus 300. So pretty good value.
Yeah, there have been times where it's been plus 170, plus 160. So
yeah. So that's that, Grant, for me. I'm a big basketball guy, ready to watch the C's tomorrow night, ready to watch the Timberwolves tonight. So it's going to be a good couple days of basketball.
Yeah, I'm surprised we're getting 2 games basically every night this week. They're not really giving them much rest, but I'll take it as a fan.
The playoffs have been awesome. Like this is what the NBA needed to. I mean, I don't get the ratings up, but like, I wish the regular season could be like this. You're never going to get the regular season like this over 82 games. That's just not going to happen.
No, like how the NFL's talking about making its regular season longer. The NBA, I wouldn't like it just because historical records and stuff would get all messed up. But at some point, the NBA might need to consider shortening the regular season if they can't find a way to further incentivize the teams to win and play in the regular season.
Well, that's the problem with NBA, NHL, MLB. Like, I don't need 162 Major League Baseball games. Personally.
That's absurd. That's
absurd. When a series can end in 5, when your first 5, the division series is 5 games. Like, I don't need 162 to get to that point. I would rather, in baseball, I think would do better if you cut it down where, like, end of August, like, that's World Series. Like, the World Series is done before football starts. We don't need to go a month and a half into football season. Same thing with the NBA. Like, these guys they're not going to play hard for 82 games. They're not.
No, the new CBA was probably supposed to be sort of that remedy, because you have to play in 65 games to be awards eligible. And then when you get super maxes, you get bigger contracts by being all NBA, being defensive player of the year, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But that's still only a select few group of guys. That's only the all NBA level guys. And honestly, when you get to that point, you're talking about the difference between $250 and $350 million. That's a big deal, obviously, but this guy's still got $250 million in the bank. He's got all these off-court sponsors and all this other stuff going for him. He's probably got his own business. So it's like, I don't know how much of an incentive that's really going to be.
Well, that's, like 250 versus 350. It's a lot of money, but like when you have 250 million in the bank, you're still doing pretty well, so that's the tough part about that. But when you look at just, I think what the NBA needed, like this is what they needed. And NFL too, you can you could move the regular season to 20 NFL games. Like, the guys are still going to play hard. They have to play hard. It's one event a week and every game matters. But for NBA, like 82 is too many. I think NHL 82 is probably too many. MLB 162 is too many. So cut them down, play longer, make the playoffs bigger, and cut down the regular season. You're going to have a lot higher ratings.
Timberwolves in 5.
Timberwolves in 5. Ant-Man, Batman, Superman, Timberwolves in 5. That was Ride the Line, greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. Grant, take us out of here.
Guys, that is going to do it for this episode. Please, before you click off of here, hit that like button. Join the growing community. We're getting a bunch of new subs. Why not you? Hit that subscribe button. Jump in the comments. Let us know who are your best bets for the rest of the second round in the NBA playoffs. And we will catch you all in the next episode of Ride the Line.